Hey everyone, Usman here, back with another video. I'm going to be doing my Eternals movie review. That's right, for Marvel Studios' Eternals. I just saw this movie on Thursday night. I'm just going to be giving you my overall thoughts about the film. The pros, the cons, just a bunch of other things. That's what's going to be going on in this video, so can't wait to talk about it with you guys. And this is going to be a non-spoiler review. Just wanted to let you guys know, non-spoiler. But yeah, if you want to stay up to date with all of my latest content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below letting me know, are you excited to watch the Eternals? Do you think that after my review you would want to go out and watch the movie? Just let me know down below. I really want to know what you guys think. Let's talk about it. This movie's been getting a lot of mixed reviews. Some people either like it, love it, or hate it. That's kind of how it is, and people have their criticisms about it. I actually like this movie. I fall in that camp. I actually like this movie. I don't love it. I don't think it's one of the best Marvel movies I've seen in a long time, but I very much like it. I like this movie quite a bit. I think it's very interesting, and I think it's very epic, in scale, and I think it's one of their bigger movies. It's bigger than something Ant-Man or probably, Captain Marvel. It's a cosmic type of movie, so it's it delves into, outer space, obviously stuff on Earth, and there's, superpowered aliens who are, immortal beings, that kind of thing. So it delves into that kind of stuff. So it's very epic in scale. That's what I would say. And I like that aspect quite a bit. A lot of people say that this is very much not like a Marvel movie. It's very different. It's this particular director's type of movie. I actually don't really agree with that. I actually think that this movie is kind of like every other Marvel movie. It's kind of it has the notes of people mention where it hits the humor, the action, the sort of drama. I guess it just hits all those kinds of beats the same way. But I don't really think that's a bad thing. I actually think that's a good thing. It kind of fits that their sort of the way that they do it, their sort of tone, the course that they've set. It fits that, and I think it fits it really well. And it fits it in a way that'll entertain audiences, or a certain amount of audiences mainly. The movie was trying to present a lot of different sort of ideas and concepts, and that's really what it was. And I think they did a good job in presenting them. I don't think they went overly overboard with it too much, that it seemed like it was too much, but a lot of people can feel differently about that. But I don't know, I personally don't think it went that bad. I mean, you'll know when you see the movie about what I'm talking about. For me, it didn't seem like those ideas or concepts were drilled into my head. It's basically, obviously takes place after Avengers Endgame. There's after half the universe is brought back to life after Endgame, when the Hulk snaps his fingers to bring back everybody back to life or something. It reignites this thing called the Emergence. And so the Eternals are basically an immortal alien race that are created by the Celestials, who have secretly lived on the Earth for over 7,000 years, and they're living amongst humans. And so there's this other sort of group of beings called the Deviants that I think also the Celestials created, that come back after a long time to Earth, and so the Eternals have to reunite together to stop them. So that's kind of what is the main sort of gist. And also a lot of these characters haven't seen each other in many, many years, because they were asked not to interfere unless deviants were involved. So they've been involved. That's what they're doing. That's how it is. So I'm just going to do a general sort of breakdown about who the characters are. There's Sersi. She's the main character of the movie. Her powers are matter transmutation. There's a scene in the movie, I think it's posted online, where there's a bus that falls on top of a group of people. And so she basically takes her hand, and then she touches it and she turns it into flowers. So it's kind of she can transform something into something else in a way. So that's kind of what her powers entail. So she's in love with this one character named Ikaris in the movie, played by Richard Madden, who plays Ikaris, and Sersi's played by Gemma Chan. That's who she is. Ikaris is another character, like I mentioned. He can shoot lasers out of his eyes, like I've mentioned, I think in my other video for when I was reviewing the TV spot for this movie. He shoots lasers out of his eyes, and he can fly. He's incredibly powerful. That's mainly his power set. So people say he's like Superman, and I kind of agree with that. It's just that he doesn't have the cape. There's another character named Thena. She's played by Angelina Jolie. Her powers are mainly she creates a golden type of weapon. She creates weird golden sort of light weapons, and so that's kind of a cool thing. She makes swords and shields and, I don't know, just random things that she throws at people, staffs. That's kind of what her power set is in the film, and she has some random thing going on with her and this other characters. There's a character named Sprite in the movie. She's played by, I think, an actress. Was her name Leah McHugh? I think that's the actress's name. So she's more of an illusionist type of character, like Loki. She can make different copies of herself and basically just trick a bunch of people. She also looks really young, even though I think she might be the oldest of the Eternals, but she looks very young. Makkari, played by Lauren Ridloff. She is the first deaf superhero in the MCU. The actress in real life is deaf. She can also run incredibly fast. She's kind of like the Flash, but she's not. So that's mainly her power set. She's a speedster. And she has a very sort of interesting relationship as well with another character in the movie. Druig is played by Barry Keoghan. He can manipulate the minds of others. Sort of also kind of like a Loki type, but that's more of the manipulative type of thing. Like he could just basically control people's minds. Then there's Phastos, played by Brian Tyree Henry. He's the inventor of the group. He can create like a bunch of different weapons and sort of like different machines. And then there's Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh is played by Don Lee. He's like, I think, the strongest one of the group. His fist can glow up and like he can punch something like really hard, and then the thing will go flying off somewhere, and on top of that he's very strong. He can pick something up, he's like the strongest one in the group, and he has like the glowing hand type of thing. It's kind of like similar to what Thena's powers are, except she can make weapons out of it. Ajak is played by Salma Hayek. She is the leader of the Eternals. She has the ability to heal people, heal the Eternals, that kind of thing. And she is mainly in contact with the Celestials. She has a specific sort of connection to it, which I won't go into. Kingo, played by Kumail Nanjiani. He shoots laser beams out of his fingers, so he's like, pss, pss. So that's like the kind of thing. And his character is like a sort of actor of some sort in the movie, so that's pretty interesting and just kind of just weird. But yeah, that's kind of what his character is like in the film. And there's another character who is not an Eternal, but his name is Dane Whitman. He's played by Kit Harington. He's a normal human. He has a relationship with Sersi in the movie, just like with Ikaris. I don't know if I can go into details about his sort of about who he is, but he doesn't really have a huge part. That's all I'll say. I'll cover each individual thing just based off like my thoughts on each of them. So I'm going to start with the score. I like the score. There's like different parts of the movie that I like the score in mainly, but I think my favorite track of the score of this movie is their main theme, the Eternals theme. I just love that a lot. I've been listening to it constantly. I think it's a really cool, like, sort of epic theme. It's different from what you would expect from whatever. I think my favorite theme of all time, like of this year, has been like the Loki TV series theme from the MCU, but I just think that this theme was not bad either. The action was pretty good. The way that they used their powers in certain scenes, and even sort of a little bit of the choreography was pretty cool, especially when they were fighting the deviants. The way that they showcased that was pretty cool. I liked that a lot. And even just when they were shooting a bunch of things or objects or whatever, that was the best use of it. So like I like that a lot in this movie. The story was good. I mean, it was all right. It was fine to me. I understood what it was about, what, like, just the main sort of thing and what their plans were, and I was just mainly invested in it and what the Eternals' role was in the movie and how it connected with them, with the Celestials and just the deviants themselves. So I found that to be interesting. The effects were pretty good. I mean, I know there was a lot of CGI specifically, with just like there was some big CGI like monsters, deviants, like just things that they were just there to fight because, it's a superhero movie. That's the whole thing. That's what people have been mentioning. It's like, oh, okay, it's just like a bunch of CGI monsters or dogs or whatever, things that can fly. That might be something that's not up someone's alley for this kind of movie. I just thought it was fine. But I get it. I get the complaint, but I thought it was pretty good. And I thought the CGI was really good with those kinds of deviant characters. There was one scene in the movie which had very questionable and weird CGI, but for the most part, I think the CGI was really good. It really nailed it really well, in my opinion, specifically obviously for the deviants, and of course when they were showing their powers, with Ikaris shooting lasers out of his eyes and all these other things. I just thought that was kind of cool. The performances were good. A lot of the actors interjected a lot of comedy and even bits of drama, and so that was decent. There was that one performance from the guy who played Ikaris, Richard Madden. He sometimes would come off as kind of just being a little, like, sometimes he would come off as like kind of just stale or wooden, I guess, like is what they would say. It didn't seem like he emoted that much, but I think he tried. But I think as the movie progressed, you could see like the emotion from him whenever he was acting in certain scenes where he had to be dramatic. I guess if I had to be honest, I think maybe after seeing the movie, I think I might have realized why he acted the way that he acted. But as time went on, I liked what he did with Ikaris when he played him. Even though I kind of brought up some I brought up a sort of con, I'm going to bring up maybe a couple cons just in general. The CGI in that one scene mentioned, that was a thing that was kind of weird. There were some things that happened to the Eternals, those main characters, that I just thought was a little, it kind of disappointed me in that regard, but I guess I got it, but like that kind of was a disappointment to me mainly for this movie. And on top of that, there was like, and I guess this is not really that much of a con as much, I mean, I guess, but a little bit of the runtime. I mean, when I saw the movie, I didn't really feel it as much, but okay, there were some parts of the movie which I thought was a little bit, like it felt like it was a little long, but for the most part, I didn't really think it was that bad. Like I thought I got through it, breezed through pretty quickly, but then sometimes, but like I mentioned, sometimes I would feel length. Sometimes. The director of this movie is Chloe Zhao. I never seen any of her movies before. I heard she's a great director. She won an Academy Award or Academy Awards for this one movie she directed last year, I think called, was it Nomadland? So now she's directing a big budget superhero movie, so she's like one of the most well-known directors now today. Even though people are mixed about this, I actually like the film and what she did. So if I were to give this movie a score of some kind, just in general, like out of the things I just mentioned, I would give it like a 7.5 out of 10. That's what I would give it. I just think that this movie is really good, not as much as Shang-Chi, but I still found it to be enjoyable. Still, it delivered the action, the drama, the comedy. It hits the notes of the MCU in a good way. Not my favorite MCU movie, but still pretty good, not even of this year. And I think that it is something that will have a big impact in the MCU. There's so much to unpack and so much to unravel, so I hope they make a sequel. That was my review for Marvel Studios' Eternals. I guess the next thing that I'll review will probably be Spider-Man No Way Home, and that's going to be coming out next month. I can't wait to see that. As I mentioned before, like, subscribe, all that fun, cool stuff, and I will see you next time.